Well, clarify for us this other issue that talks about, a federal government gazette being published first before the assembly sits to, deliberate on this particular declaration before we can now say, emergency rule is in place.
Yes, like I said, it's a situation where our collective rights are suspended. And you know, these rights are inalienable. Nobody gives them to you. They are yours. Once you are born, they are your rights. And so, for you as a president to suspend these rights, to say, look, somebody can arrest you without a warrant, without respect, regards to this basic rule of law, once for you to do that, you will need the concurrence of our representatives. And remember, the National Assembly, we have elected representatives from our constituencies there. And so, in situations like that, the law empowers Mr. President to make such a proclamation. But the moment the proclamation is made, not like what we have here, you make a proclamation and then...
Proclamation and publication.
Yes.
What's the
publication, once it is published in the Gazette, once it is published in the Gazette, the president must, it's a proclamation, not yet an emergency rule.
So in other words, a proclamation is not tantamount to an emergency rule.
Until approved.
By the National Assembly.
By the National Assembly. And so, in such a situation, once the president makes that proclamation, it's gazetted and transmitted to the Senate President and the Speaker of the State House of Assembly, who shall now immediately convene a sitting.
And can a broadcast be referred to as a publication?
We saw that with what did the Senate even call it? I've forgotten the name now.
Necessity.
The necessity rule, where the late president's alleged telephone conversation was admitted as a notification. And so I will not sit down here to say yes or no, but we know that we've seen situations like that. But here, my problem is not the broadcast trying to make a show of the whole thing.
No, we're trying to look at the provisions here, because it was talking about the procedure.
Yes,
that has to be adopted before you can say we truly do have.
Yeah, there is a procedure that you must follow. It does not necessarily mean that you must make a broadcast. Once that document is gazetted, and what do you mean by being gazetted? Put it in the official letterhead of Mr. President, and then seal it with the seal of the Federal Republic and transmit. Once it is gazetted and transmitted and then approved, because for your rights to be suspended, Mr. President cannot act arbitrarily, but he has powers to deploy troops.
But the way it is, even though it's not explicitly stated in the Constitution, the governors of those states and the assemblies of those states can be said to be working.
No, you cannot say they are not working. Because it's here we don't report the sitting of state houses of assemblies daily. It's only the National Assembly that you get to see on TV. Even Lagos State House of Assembly, it's once in a while you watch the local television station that you get to see the sitting of the state houses of assembly. As I talk to you, probably this state house of assembly, I remember Adamawa governor quarreling, complaining about the emergency rule extended to his states. That the emergency rule shouldn't have been extended to Adamawa because they were enjoying relative peace. And so, if you look at Adamawa states now, can you say that the state of assembly is not sitting or has not been sitting? For the fact that the soldiers are on the streets to protect lives and properties, it is also to protect the sitting of this houses of assembly.
The comments that he made.
And then also in situations where we were told that Boko Haram are taking over 22 out of 27 local governments.
Yeah, but what about the comments that the Adamawa state governor made? Doesn't it in any way make us question whether or not the circumstances under which you can declare a state of emergency in a state has been fulfilled or met? Because if he says we're enjoying relative peace, And it says here on the conditions, war, imminent danger of invasion.
Let me explain a little bit here. If we had to really look at the circumstances for declaring a state of emergency, we can conveniently say that the entire nation is in a state of an undeclared emergency.
How is that?
Yeah, because if you in Lagos we have Operation Mensa, fighting insecurity here. It's not supposed to be their duties. You go to Bayelsa, River State, you have military, JTF, fighting militancy, oil bunkering, and insecurity. You go to Benue, go to Jos.
Does that qualify for danger of invasion or getting us involved in a state of war?
Take Boston, for example. 3 people died in those 2 bomb blasts that went off. And the whole entire nation stood still. Not to talk of, people are dying daily in Nigeria as a result of armed robbery, kidnapping. Is it in the east? Is it in the west? Is it in the middle belt? So if you look at all of this, you put them together holistically. And also because it is impossible for us to sustain this war on our front with our military.
Could the president have done this any other way?
He could have also, because I cannot say yes or no for this, because the president has the power to because he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He has the power to send troops. But if you send troops to a state, there is no way you will send troops to that state to take over security to a very large extent without suspending the people's rights. It's impossible.
No, in this, the
situation where you have almost completely breakdown of law and order.
Completely?
Yes, because
that's relative.
Yes, because out of 27, you have insurgent controlling 20.
Okay, well, in that case, but what about where, because people just wonder that, wait a minute, if any state should understand this, it should be Adamawa State, because, I mean, it's from the same party.
Now, Plateau State are wishing that the state of emergency were declared in Plateau State, because from what we learned that the insurgents are running into Plateau State and neighboring states.
But we heard one of their lawmakers the other day say he's not sure
that these are political statements. These are political statements.
He predicated that on history, because remember it's been declared there before.
Yes.
But you still have the situation today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We declared the state of emergency there. That's the issue. The main issue is not about state of emergency, really. The main issue is about security. And then also, it is high time we sit down to renegotiate this entity called Nigeria.
No, but
in the all of this is heading
even before that renegotiation,
yeah,
are we achieving what we intend to achieve by declaring the state of emergency?
You cannot, to some extent, once you are able to achieve relative peace, the next thing would have been, let us all sit down and discuss this. But when you don't do that, forgetting that there are issues, it's something that triggered this unrest.
Which is a fundamental problem?
Yes, which is a fundamental problem. When trees fall on trees, first the topmost are removed. You've removed up to the middle, and then you allow the rest. So without doing that, there is no way you can solve that problem completely. There's need to use this force to maintain law and order. And then you say, look, what is this problem? If it's a marriage of strange bedfellows, if it is this entity called Nigeria, and the only thing we have, we kept holding on to, we keep holding on to, is the fact that we are together. If you're married for 53 years, and the only thing you can boast of in that marriage is the fact that you have been with your wife for 53 years, irrespective of all the problems that you are going through, then that's not a marriage. And so that's why, once you achieve relative peace, let's find a way of coming together. Let's address these problems.
But it's still a marriage by law, since they are still together.
Yes, it is a marriage of convenience, but you know that these issues have not been properly addressed. The man says, I don't believe in this, my neighbor. We cannot be brothers. We cannot completely coexist.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to that debate tomorrow and just see how it will eventually go. But that's all the time we have for this segment. Thank you for coming on. Liborous Oshoma is legal.